Well, today we get to review this 2025 Nissan Frontier SV. Pretty excited to review this. I actually like some of the interior updates on this model, and I love this blue color. It's the SV model. Let's go take a look at the sticker really quick and see what they're coming in at. It is a beautiful color. It's probably not going to show up great on the video, but here's the sticker. So you've got typical 2-year 24,000 mile maintenance, which is similar to like Toyota Care. Got the naturally aspirated V6, which is why everybody buys these things compared to the Tacomas, and then typical safety and features. Here's what I really think is a decent upgrade for the Frontier. You get this 12.3 color touchscreen. I actually really like it. Wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, everything built in, and the screen is awesome. I've been in this already, so I'll take a look at that here in a second. It's got 6 speakers, a bunch of USB ports, so yeah, really pretty well equipped as you'd expect for a 2025. 17-inch alloy wheels, steel front skid plate. This does have the halogen lamps because it's the SV, it doesn't have the LEDs, but hey, they're cheaper to replace when they go bad. Dampened locking tailgate, bed rails and protectors. It does have quite a few extra options as well. This has the convenience package, which is $1,790. You get a spray-in bed liner, Utilitrack 2-way tie-down cleats. You get the 120-volt inverter outlet in the bed. A bunch of other things, heated outside mirrors, heated leather steering wheel, heated front seats, LED under rail lighting, a bunch of stuff that doesn't come standard for that $1,790. So it's not a crazy upcharge for all the things that you get, and coming in at about $43,445. Let's take a walk around. Huge shout out to Valley Nissan. They're not paying me to do this. I just asked them if I could do it, and they said, sure, let's go. Which truck would you like to look at? So huge shout out, valleynissan.com in Longmont. When I was looking at the 2025s online, I actually wasn't sure I would really like these wheels. The Pro 4X, hopefully I'll get to do a review on that here soon, but these wheels are not bad. I actually like that kind of charcoal blacked out look on the wheels, but it is a really nice color. Not a lot has changed from 2024, but the interior is updated and some really nice updates and features in there. The big thing is the powertrain hasn't changed, and that's what everybody likes to see. We'll take a peek in here. Got good sized frame for a mid-sized truck, but it is a different design than what you see on the Tacoma and the front and rear suspension. So you'll have to go take them for a spin yourself and see what you like. Frame under here is pretty good size, and they still have that really nice cross bracing and huge thick ladder across the other side. So since it does have that extra package, you do get the steel skid plate, unlike the Tacoma SR5, which is just a felt plate there. So that's kind of a little nice addition on the Frontier. And some of those features that you get that you're paying for, the upgrade is the dampened tailgate. You get these Utilitrack, and then the cleats are inside in the box, and then you get this spray-in tacky bed liner. It feels pretty darn durable and tough, and then you get this outlet and inverter. That's all in that convenience update or upgrade package. And from the factory, you're running Michelin 265 6517s, Primacy LTX. So pretty decent tires on this. And then of course, as most people know, you do have a pretty good departure angle there on the stock exhaust, and the Pro 4X is the same, I believe. You also have good old leaf springs. You don't have that trailing arm like the Tacomas. Probably doesn't ride quite as soft. And I do like, you know, there's a decent amount of soft touch material here. This is all soft touch. This is a little harder plastic here, but there's quite a bit of soft touch material here, and it does feel pretty good. And for an SV, you know, it's going to be it's not going to be the top trim, but it is pretty well equipped. I like this little addition, this white stitching in here. This is soft. This is kind of a little bit harder up here. You have a nice little mat and tray holder. I do like these seats. This is a passenger seat, so it is manual. Everything is manual on it. You have the typical lever there on the SV, which is kind of to be expected. I do like this material. It's got kind of a interesting design on it. It doesn't feel super thin, these seats. If you look at the thickness, don't ever look at the plastic. Look at how thick the seats are, and they are fairly comfortable seats. They seem to have quite a bit of padding in them for a mid-size, and I do like up here, this material's pretty nice. It seems like it would be durable. It feels durable, and it feels very cleanable. And I like these little stitching accents. They're kind of a nice little touch there. Got the typical handles that you saw in the previous model. Little pen holders. And then we've got USB-C, USB-A. Got your, for this package on the SV with that premium, you get the heated steering wheel and the seats, heated seats. But typical dash, and this is really kind of what the show's about, right? This is the upgrade to the 25 Frontier, and I really like the way it looks. I like that it doesn't stick up over the dash. I won't say other brands that do that, but I really like this. I like General Motors too. They do the same thing on some of those AT4s, where they just kind of integrate it dash level so it's not sticking up and out. Easier to clean, just looks cleaner to me. Now let's see, I'm about 6'1", so we're gonna jump on in here, and I forgot my tripod today, but we'll see what we can do with this view here. So the seat's back about where I would drive it, and I've still got room. It is a little bit of an upright position, but that's gonna be the same with the Tacoma or any of these other mid-sized trucks. You really can't expect, it's not a full-size truck, so I don't really expect it to be like a super long trip vehicle with large adults back here. Kids would probably be just fine. It's a little upright, but it's not too bad. And then I've got plenty of room here. It's close, but being 6'1", it's not too bad. I can fit here, and the seat's set up for me as well up here. So you figure tall driver, tall person in the back, and I still have enough room in this crew cab. So that's pretty nice. And back here, of course, if you have that package, you're gonna get this box with the cleats and the extra mats. And then down here, you've got the typical USB-C and A, and then the 120 volt, 400 watt. On the back, similar thing, you got this is all soft touch and padded, soft touch here. And then this is kind of hard plastic. So it does feel pretty good. The plastics are pretty thick. It doesn't feel cheap. And when I pull the door, you know, you're not feeling that like pull away. So to me, it just feels like it's put together really well. I like the seals. You know, they don't feel like they're just gonna pop off like some trucks. Not gonna name names. Then you have the shark fin on top. And in this model, you've got the, you know, cargo lamp, hill descent, traction control, inverter button. Tow mode is in this little button here, and then your dash buttons. And you can turn your auto shut off, auto engine start stop, turn it off right there. I believe you have to do that every time you start the car. And then you've got the typical push button start and old school 4-wheel drive system. And this one, just like the last model, you've got halogens here. Some people like that. I'm kind of getting to the point where I would rather put, you know, LED swaps and halogens. They're a lot cheaper. When these LED bulbs go bad in some of these new trucks, like the new Tundras are like $2,000 a light. So think about that when you're buying a truck. You might get brighter headlights in an LED, but if anything fails, you're gonna be down the road thousands of dollars to swap that stuff out. They do put the struts in there instead of the top holder. But the only thing I don't like about these is the distance that you can push the hood up. It doesn't open as far as I'd want it to, but it's still plenty for basic maintenance. I'm not going to be hitting my head or anything in here. So Nissan 3.8 liter, quite a bit of room down here. There's the oil filter. Got your serpentine belt there.
And for those of you wondering, there are quite a few vehicles that put the alternator down there towards the bottom. If you're thinking about making this a swamp truck, might want to consider that, but I think for most people it's not that big a deal. You can get to a lot of your typical maintenance items. You got your battery, power steering, everything's pretty accessible up on top. Air cleaner here, brake reservoir, all real accessible, and direct injection, no port injection, 3.8 liter. And here is a shot at the suspension from below. Really beefy sway bar there. And then you also have your typical front differential, but you don't have to worry about that ADD like the Tacoma on this one. This just has a straight spindle that goes from the differential right to your passenger side. Downside of that is you can't hook it up to like a RV and tow it, but plus side is probably going to be more reliable for you. And here's a look underneath at the exhaust. The super beefy driveline. Look at the size of that sucker. Transfer case there. Yep, all looks just like the 2024s to me. Not seeing any difference, which is a good thing. They've been very reliable. And of course you have your Nissan key. I actually like the size of these keys. They fit in your pocket really well. They don't get in the way. They don't jam when you sit down in your pants. They're just kind of nice. So typical unlock, lock, remote start. There you go. On the driver's seat it is power, so you've got tilt up, down, forward, back. This is tilting this back seat, of course, and most people know this, and then this is the lumbar here in the back. I think they've got the manual telescoping wheel here, so that's kind of nice. I don't mind manual stuff at all, and especially with the telescoping, I want to do it quick. And there's a quick look at the dash, steering controls. Not a lot of changes with this stuff, but here's the star of the show right here. So that is just a nice screen right there. I really like the looks of it. Even with the sun coming down on it, it's really easy for me to see. I've got polarized glasses. It doesn't look weird with my polarized lenses on. And it's playing John Denver here in Colorado. You can't ask for more than that, right? See how easy it is to connect my phone to the wireless CarPlay. And of course you just click use CarPlay, click yes. And look at that. Oh, that is a gorgeous screen. I like how it takes up the entire thing too. Boy, if you've got maps here, wow, that is a crazy screen. Really responsive too. Wow. This is yeah, this is great. I wish I could play music. All right, so just tested out the stereo. It sounds fantastic. I really like this layout. I love how wide it is. I actually think it's better than those square ones. It's just, you got this useful area here on the left, and you can rearrange these, and you got your music on the right. So easy, all connected wirelessly, not plugged into anything. And when you put it in reverse, there's the camera. Nissan doesn't always have the highest resolution backup cameras. Now for me, I don't really care that much. Not a huge deal. But for some people, that's a big deal. I don't use the cameras. I'm so old school. I hardly ever use them unless I'm in a really tight lot. Yeah, let's take this bad boy for a spin. And we're not going to go too far, but it's, feels just like the 2024 I drove, so it doesn't feel much different to me. I will say this 3.8, it may not be turbocharged, it may not be all the fancy, but I really like that. I like that this is still just an iterative platform. It's not something that you have to worry about all the turbo direct injection and looks like I made someone mad.
All right, wow, shifts really smooth. Yeah, we're just gonna take a tiny little loop here and see how it feels. Feels identical to the last one. So you got the 9-speed and 3.8. I'm not gonna rev it up too much because it's not broken in yet. I don't wanna rip on a truck that's not broken in, because if it was mine, I wouldn't want someone to do that. So, but man, I mean, that was about a quarter throttle, just touching the throttle. So, yeah, super nice truck. Really like the way it feels. I guess that's the big thing, is how does it feel? You know, how does it ride? How does the suspension feel side to side? I really like the rigidity. It doesn't feel like it has a lot of body roll. And I just tested the brakes out a little bit for these kids, and there's the stop start. So it just killed the engine, let off the brake, boom, it starts right back up. Not a fan of start stop, but you know, let's see if we can kill it there. All right, I'm gonna turn around and go back to the dealer because I want to test the steering radius. Look at that steering radius. Everybody talks about how bad the radius is in this. I just did a UE and no problem at all, really. It was, I've heard so many bad things about the steering radius on these vehicles, and that was not bad at all. That doesn't bug me. I would never be complaining about it. Now, if you're on a road with like switchbacks and, you know, that's the type of thing you're going to do, is really crazy off-road where you need the ultra tight turning radius. Guess what? Almost none of these trucks are going to do it for you, because even like the new Tundras, the new Sequoias, all of them, their steering radius stinks compared to the old ones. So I don't think the brand's going to matter all that much. The Tacoma might have a little better steering radius, I'm not sure, but yeah, let's flip it around. So let's just look at it. We're in a street here. So I turn this so you can click on the stop start, turns it on. So when I go like this, now it should shut it off, but if you just hold that down, turns the stop start off, and then you don't have to worry about burning your starter up. So here's the turning radius. It's pretty good. This is not, most cars, even my older Sequoia has one of the best steering radiuses of any car, and you know, this is not bad at all. Not bad. Turn the recirc on, get this thing blowing. The vents are a little thin, like they look a little thin to me, but they actually seem to be blowing plenty of air out, so it doesn't really bug me as long as they're functional and they work. They just look smaller than most vents. Doesn't seem to be affecting performance though. Man, the low end torque in these is great. It's that first gear is like, it's just super torquey. Just wanted to flip around here again, do another UE. So there's another UE in the middle of the street, and wasn't too bad. Let's flip here. One more U-turn, see if we can get a better image of it here. So really I just don't think that's that bad, guys and gals. I'm not sure what all the complaints are about, I'll be honest. That isn't terrible. The steering radius is totally acceptable to me. Another complaint is people say that the steering's heavy, at least on the 24s. This one feels the same to me as a 24. It does not feel heavy. I feel like I'm not thinking about the steering. It's predictable. Like, that's what I want. I want predictable steering, and it feels just tight enough to where I'm actually connected to the road, which is, I kind of like that. A lot of people just want super light steering, and I don't know, that feels cheap to me sometimes, and this definitely doesn't. So Yeah, overall, really like the dash, like the layout. All the buttons are accessible. You know, if I was doing like a glove test here, it's gonna pass a glove test. I love that you can just crank these up and down, and these buttons are probably big enough when you got gloves on. We live in Colorado, so it's kind of a common thing for me. Another thing that a lot of people, you know, complain about on a lot of these modern trucks is just the like seeing over this. So if I was a shorter person, I've got plenty of headroom here, but just being able to see like over the dash, I feel pretty good. I would say it's about average where the hood is. I wouldn't mind if it just kind of disappeared a little more. I'm taller, so it doesn't bug me as much, but just vision over the hood and how high the dash is in relation to me sitting in this truck, I don't mind it. I like that this isn't sticking up, and then it's usable space here, which a lot of these trucks are just going with these screens that come up and are in the way. So this and General Motors screen, I really like the most.
So I guess the question is, should you buy the 2025 Nissan Frontier, and who's it really kind of built for? It does have this updated 7,150 pounds towing capacity. I think previously it was around 6,100 or 6,200 pounds. Depends on the model and your configuration. So they've updated the towing capacity to be more. I don't know if that's because the Titan's on its way out or what, but it's nice to have a higher towing capacity than most trucks, 1,620 pounds of payload. And they are offering in the Pro 4X model a long bed option now, which I know a lot of people have asked for. I've seen that in the comments as well. A lot of good things coming from Nissan. What do I think about these updates? I think you know, just the SV model that I reviewed today, I really liked it. I thought for the price, it's a little bit less than the Tacoma. The Nissan is going to have that market of anyone who wants a naturally aspirated engine, right? That's who they're going for at this point. There's no other body on frame truck that I can think of other than maybe the Gladiator that compares, and the Gladiator is more expensive, and it's got a different purpose in mind. So if I'm in the market for a truck and I'm looking to keep it 10 or 15 years, am I going to want to buy, you know, the GM or the Tacoma with these high-strung turbo engines? They run great. They have a lot of torque, but am I going to want to buy that and keep it 10 or 15 years, or am I going to want to buy the Frontier and have something that's just proven reliability? Probably going to go with the Frontier. So that would be my pick. I think it really depends on who you are. If you're someone that just cycles trucks every 2 to 3 years or 4 years, and you're barely keeping things through warranty and exchanging vehicles all the time, I would just go drive them all and see what you think. There's still something to be said, even when you're in warranty. I see these folks with the Tacomas or any other vehicle that have problems right out of the gate. And there is something to be said for not having to go to the dealership a lot, not having to change your plugs at 40,000 miles because you have this high-strung, you know, turbocharged direct inject engine. And when you have boosted engines, like a lot of these other engines, they are harder on plugs, they're harder on everything. So just something to keep in mind. The Frontier is probably going to be more like a traditional maintenance cycle for people. So drive it, keep the fluids changed, probably not going to have to worry about it a lot. I liked it. My favorite part, obviously, was pretty evident in the video that I really liked the screen. I'm not going to buy a vehicle just based on the screen. If you wanted to get the best deal, you could just go grab a box like this, these little Android systems, this CarLink kit. I'll put a link in the description below, shameless plug. But they work great. I have one in my Sequoia. So if you've got an older Frontier or you're looking at the 2024s, you can probably get a screaming deal on a 2024 right now that the 25s are coming out. It won't look as nice. You know, the dash isn't as big. The screen's not as big. It is really nice to have that 12.3 inch screen. But if that's the only reason you're buying it, I would say you could probably look at 24s as well. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference in the truck overall. You've really got the grille updates in the front, some towing capacity. I mean, there's just some minor things, which I really like about Nissan. It's iterative. It's not a wholesale change. That's the market they're going for. Hopefully this helps you decide on the truck, helps you out. Till next time, thanks for watching. More reviews to come.